if being a better leader is not what you think it is? What if, in fact, it's the exact opposite of what you think it is? And what if I told you the best way you could learn this opposite is from a professional magician? Today we're going to break that down. I'm excited to be here. My name is Caleb Morgan. If you're here, you know I've been a professional magician for a decade now and trying something new on YouTube Live here. So jumping in, excited to chat with you and share some things I've been thinking about. I was on a forum recently and I saw somebody come in with a comment, a question for the men that were in the forum, and it was a very vulnerable question. They kind of opened up, and I wanted to just read it to you. It says, the title says, "How can I be a better leader for my family? I really want to be a better leader for my family, but I don't know how. What does it mean to be a good leader of your family? What have you learned from failures and successes? What has your father, grandparents, and other men taught you? I wasn't raised with a father and realize more and more that I don't know what I'm doing. I know that I can be a better husband or father than I currently am, and I know it starts with being a good leader to my family. What I don't know is how." And that's a very vulnerable question, right? That's a especially for guys. Like sometimes we feel like we don't want to be open, right, about what we're going through or struggling with. And I've been having the opportunity to do more keynote speaking recently. It's funny because this is like maybe the first video I've posted on YouTube since, I mean, I've had different like demo reels and things like that for some of the events that I do, but since like my Penn and Teller Fool Us winning video, I haven't really posted a whole lot on this channel. And so this is like getting started here, and I've been able to do some, keynote speaking and presentations for companies, for youth, and different organizations, and been studying a lot about leadership recently. And I'm learning. Been married 8 years now, and still learning how to be a better leader, right, for my family, for my business, for myself, really. How do we lead in all those different domains? And something I realized is that a magician, well, hold on, let me back up a second. I was reading John Maxwell. You know John Maxwell, right? If you know John Maxwell, leadership guy, like put a little comment in the comment box or a little thumbs up if you know who John Maxwell is. He has a book, The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, and I was whole lot of leadership books actually. This guy's been studying leadership for a long time, and he had a training that I went to, like a virtual training. And one of the things he said that stuck out to me a lot was he said, leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less, right? And if you look up the dictionary definition of leadership, actually I did it early. Let's see here, leadership. Just want to see what it says. So AI pulls up. It says leadership is the act of influencing and guiding a group or organization to achieve a shared vision. And then it has some other different things there. And then it says further down, um, where does it say this? It had a part in there that said like helping a group to do things that they couldn't have done on their own. And it made me realize, like, if leadership is just influence, that's all magicians do, right? The thing that I've studied, the thing that I've dedicated so much time and obsession over professionally for the last decade, I got intrigued with it when I was like 8 years old, is this idea of illusions in general and anything that, that looks like something else. I've always loved impersonators and, all these different things, but influence is how a good magic act works, right? Have you ever been to see a magician perform? And maybe some of you here have seen me perform, right? Either live or on Penn and Teller, or some of our local different things that we've done on the news or anything like that, the way any of those things work is through influence, right? The way any magician is able to pull somebody along for a journey is through influence. Is influencing it's a influencing and guiding a group to achieve a shared vision, right? There's like a vision of how I want the trick to go, and then you, influencing the audience to go along with me. There's a lot of things that have to happen to create that influence, to hopefully bring you along in a shared vision that we both enjoy, right? And so I was thinking about this question, right? How can I be a better leader for my family? And there's a lot of different things I think that come into leadership, especially when we're thinking about it like influence. But one thing popped in my mind like right away, and it's a strange tip that a good magician really understands, something I've learned from the best of mentors that I've had the chance to learn from all over the world. And I'd like to share it with you today in hopes that it would help you as you think through becoming a better leader for your family, for your business, for yourself. But before I get there, I want to show you a little something. I want to demonstrate it with a little bit of what I do. Is that okay? So I want to show you a little card trick that I was kind of working on. This trick has to do with a bunch of different cards, a bunch of different cards going a whole bunch of different ways, and a bunch of mess, and a bunch of some people call this gobbledygook, a whole bunch of different like stuff going in different directions, and not knowing exactly what things are supposed to be where and who's supposed to keep track of what and how everything is supposed to go. But you can notice that everything is kind of going in different directions and everything is all crazy, right? But here's the cool part, is that it's really actually not about, there we are, okay. Are we still alive? There we go, okay. It's really not, I didn't do anything. It's really not about cards going in all sorts of different directions, right? Face to face and back to back and all these different directions that the cards are going. It's really all about one card, and that's the Queen of Hearts. See, because if we look through now, every card is facing the same direction, all except for one card. And that's the Queen of Hearts. Isn't that fun? So I show you that because the idea that everything came down to the one card, the Queen of Hearts. What's on purpose, right? I have a queen of my heart, you know. And of our married guys out there, you got your family, you got your queen, you got the people you're trying to lead. The Queen of Hearts represents the people we're trying to lead, right? The people that we have been given the responsibility, the opportunity to lead. And that idea that there's so many other things going on, but really it comes down to one thing. And sometimes you weren't even expecting that one thing. You may have seen it earlier on, and then it didn't even kind of register until all of a sudden everything coalesces to focus on the one thing, right? And so the strange tip that I thought of for leadership, for influence, is that a good magician knows how to make other people shine, right? To lay themselves down and make the audience the star. Like most people think that a magician is all about like, oh, let me get the attention and oh, look at this and I'm going to be flashy and have fire and fireworks and glitter suits and all these kind of things. And sometimes there's a place for that. There's a place for the glitter and the confetti and all the pyrotechnics and all that cool stuff, right? But the best magicians know that it's way stronger and a much better experience if we can make the audience the star, if we can make the person sitting across the table from us, the person's in the audience, the person standing next to us, if we can make the light shine on them, right? And I took a couple notes because there was a couple things I wanted to make sure that I didn't forget. when I talk about mentors in the world, my favorite, you've probably heard me say before, my favorite magicians anywhere are most of them, a lot of them are from Spanish speaking countries. I speak Spanish, my wife is Costa Rican. I don't always speak Spanish perfectly, and I'm practicing, and that's okay. But I love the culture, I love the language and everything like that. If we ever want to speak Spanish, feel free to put some Spanish in the comments or however you want to communicate in that way. But the best magicians, in my opinion, some of the best in the world are from Spanish speaking countries. And there's this unique style about Spanish speaking magic that is very different. I like to tell people who are not magicians, we affectionately call them laymen, right? People who are not in the know of the secrets of magic tricks and things like that. But I like to tell laymen, like, hey, this uh, is kind of similar to like sports, kind of like soccer, right? If you've ever played soccer, like put a little soccer ball in the comment, put your position down there. I played soccer my whole life. I always ask people, what position do you play? Because it tells you a lot, right? If I played striker when I was younger, and then so I was like trying to score goals, and I played the uh, the right wing of the soccer field a lot. So I was running up and down, a lot of running, lots of endurance. And I tell people, I say, magic as an art form is very similar to soccer in that there are different styles for different parts of the world, right? In soccer, you have like your English style. When I was a kid, I got taught by these Englishmen that came over and taught us in a soccer camp. And then you have your Hispanic style, and you have like different styles around the world. Those are kind of the two main that I was exposed to as a kid. And magic tricks are the same way. There's like the visual nature of the countries, other countries around the world, closer like Asia type, Asian influence, Japanese Asian culture has a very like visual style of magic, right? A lot of the amazing things. Think of like Shin Lim, right? And some of the different amazing visuals that these guys come up with, right? And then there's a different style that comes from like maybe the UK and like their culture, right? Well, the culture that I've been really obsessed with learning magic from is the Spanish speaking culture, the Latino culture, right? And there was this kind of this kind of overall vibe that I learned from the Spanish speaking culture of magic that's about family. It's about everybody in this experience with us. We're all family. We're all doing this together. And that's so important because that's like the style that translates in all the arenas of a performance, right? As I'm being a leader, as a magician, leading the audience through an experience, a shared vision, as the definition of leadership said, that we all want to get to, or that I know that I want to take them to, and they're trusting me to go to, treating them like a family, making them shine, making them the star, putting the focus on them is key, is pivotal. And it reminds me also of like Dale Carnegie. If you ever read How to Win Friends and Influence People, it's like be more interested than interesting. Be more interested in the other person than trying to be interesting so that people are amazed by your abilities or whatever. Be more interested in them. And then there's that idea of like they will be more interested in you when you're more interested in them. But you're also just like helping them, right? Even Jesus talked about laying your life down. I pulled up a couple quick verses. One of them is in Ephesians 5. It says, husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. Like giving yourself up, laying yourself down. And then in Matthew 23, it says, the greatest among you shall be your servant. The greatest among you shall be your servant, right? It's so counterintuitive, so such a strange way of thinking about it. It's such a opposite to what we would intuitively, right? Like our gut. The last one I brought up was 1 John 3 in verse 16. It says, by this we know love, that he, Jesus, that he laid down his life for us, and we ought to lay down our lives for the brothers, right? So this idea of giving up the attention, giving up the focus, right? Making it about them, making it about the queen, right? Who's the queen in your life, in your situation? That, the hypothetical queen of the, the deck of cards, the queen that, we got down to. Who's the queen? Is it your wife? Is it your wife and your family? You have kids? Is it some of the other folks that are in your life? Maybe it's some neighbors that you have the opportunity to influence, to lead. Is it the people at your job that maybe even if you don't have a leadership position designated by the owner, you can still lead? Is it the people, is it yourself, right? Do you need to lead yourself? Now, for the purposes of this particular episode, I'd like to, we could focus on other people for right now. We'll talk about self-leadership in a little bit, because I have some interesting things about that too that I have been thinking about. But this has helped me so much in performance to focus on the other person, to make them the star. And so my question for you today is, what's your end goal? Like, if we agree that we're all leaders, right, that we have an opportunity to lead in our families, in our businesses, in our communities, what's the end goal? Is it for us to just get a bunch of attention? Is a leader just here so that we can just gather up attention and just hoard a bunch of attention and get a bunch of accolades, right, and get people applauding for us? Or is the end goal that we could take our responsibility seriously and lead the people that we've been given to lead to the place that they need to go, to help build them up, to lead them to a shared vision, right? How do I make it about them? So this is something for us to think about today. Like, how do I make it about the people that I'm called to lead? What's one thing I can do today to put the focus on them instead of me and how I'm doing and how I'm being? And this is a great question that I saw in this forum. Like, how can I be a better leader for my family? What if we flipped it? How can I be the best leader for, or it actually is not flipped. It's the same thing it's saying. How can I be a better leader for my family? But instead of focusing on the how can I be a better leader for my family, it's like, how can I be a better leader for my family? Like, maybe we focus on the family. Like, what do they need as in a leader, right? What do I need to do to be best for them? So those are my thoughts today on a strange tip. A strange tip for leadership and influence from a professional magician. How can you do what's best to put the shine on the people around you and be the best leader that you can be? Thanks so much for joining me. My name is Caleb Morgan, and I look forward to seeing you next time.